This week we learned about primitive paintings. So to start, this was me laying out all of my materials to create the primitive palette. So I have on top, you can see my three binders. I chose to use softened butter, vegetable oil, and then olive oil. And then over on the left are all of my ingredients laid out. So I chose to use berry tea because it had a reddish color, brewed coffee, coffee grounds, cocoa powder, cayenne pepper, cinnamon, curry powder, paprika, turmeric, carrots, and blueberries. So first I just poured out a little bit of each onto my cutting board and put a little name tag next to each so I remember. And then here's it with my three binders poured out. And so I just went one by one, combining each ingredient one by one with the specific binder, and then just taking note of it on the sheet. And then I moved on to my liquid ingredients, so my coffee, tea, blueberries, and carrots. And for the blueberries, I just smashed them with my hands and tried to get as much of the peel in it so I could get the pigment from that part of the berry. And then for the carrot, I also just tried to scrape it along the cutting board to try and get as much pigment as I could. And this is what those ended up looking like. The carrot obviously didn't transfer over a lot of pigment, but I just wanted to give it a try. The coffee and the berry tea didn't mix very well with the binders, especially the oil-based ones, well, the olive oil and the vegetable oil, and then I wanted to swatch them with no binder just to see what they looked like. So then for my final pigment, I had a chopstick, so I burned one end of it, and then I shaved it off to use as to combine with each binder. And then as you can see on the bottom, I had just swatched those three. So in the end, my favorites were the turmeric and butter worked very well, the cocoa powder and olive oil, and the burnt wood and olive oil. I feel like those three colors look almost like colored pencil. So moving on into my actual primitive painting after I finished my palette, I ended up choosing as my binder olive oil because I just thought it worked the best and it was the easiest to blend with the ingredients and use. And then for my pigments, I chose the coffee, the brewed coffee, cocoa powder, cinnamon, turmeric, and cayenne pepper because I liked the way that these pigments came out, and I also thought that they best matched the image that I chose, which was the cave painting of the panthers. So to start, I mixed, on the left is just the cocoa powder and then the olive oil binder, and then I just practiced my brush strokes with the cotton swab. And then the plate on the right, I wanted to use the turmeric, but I wanted to get a darker shade with it, so I mixed it with the cinnamon to see if I could get more of the darkish reddish brown that the outline of the panther is. So here's my initial outline. It definitely came out a lot more yellow than I wanted. I wanted it to be more of a red-brown, but I decided to go on with the background anyway. I used the coffee and olive oil pigment to paint the background, and then I actually ended up redoing the entire thing. I still used the coffee background, but the outline I changed by adding more cocoa powder so that it was darker. And then I also used the cocoa powder pigment to do the dots. And then this was my final primitive painting. I also added a little turmeric pigment swatches, which you can see on the top right and then the bottom left, and it just looks a little streaky, but I just thought I would try that. And then I also tried to add a bit of shadowing like the cave painting had, so on the top neck of the larger panther I added that. Overall, this was a little more difficult than I thought, but I had a fun time doing it.